The earthvox podcast. The earthvox podcast. earthvox podcast.
I'm going to do a new one of those, I think. It's pretty good, but it's also pretty low efforts. I wonder how the stream is doing this morning. I almost don't care to check because I'm getting a little bit, honestly, over it. Just the hassle. And I'm tired of trying to look good and the lights, I have another light that's breaking. That's why I'm in a bad mood about it, I guess, this morning. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. We are going live. Oh, I have a crick in my neck because, I just always have a crick in my neck because I don't know why. A combination of mattresses and pillows, and I'm really poor. Privileged, middle-aged white man whose neck hurts him. Oh, and yes, I am the target of. Do you ever get those? Those scam text messages like, "Oh, your your Netflix subscription has been canceled because your payment system failed. So we're sending you this text to let you know that you need to give us your payment information so that we can fix your Netflix subscription," as if you wouldn't just go to your Apple TV or your Roku or your PlayStation or whatever you use to load your Netflix app and see, "Oh, no, it's working just fine," or what we like to do around here. Don't tell anybody. We use actually, I know, I went through the whole thing. We did it live here on the show where I canceled my Netflix subscription because Netflix are globalist authoritarian bastards poisoning the minds of the youth, and probably more than just the youth. I mean, you've seen what's going on in Minnesota. There are definitely some poisoned minds about. We're going to talk about that. But I got these great text messages, and then, I mean, it's like somewhere I've had this telephone number. It used to be back in the day. You would change your phone number every time you got a new phone, and then it became, oh, well, you can keep your number. So I've had this phone number, the same one, for decades now, probably. So it's been around, and I'm sure people that I've worked with in the past that I've given my phone number to have decided, oh, we'll use this phone number so that we can get through to the next stage of whatever scam we're trying to orchestrate. So I get these really cool scam text messages like this one. Value check. Ryan, our team has completed the estimate check. You can expect, URL. Reply stop to quit. So it's obviously legit. I should give them all my information. I-e-sign. You're one step away, Ryan. Just e-sign it here. Just go to this random URL and give us your signature. And then my favorite one that I got this week. Today is the final day to claim a $600 refund through the 2025 U.S. Safe Driver Program. Check your eligibility now with another random. Now, of course, why don't you click on links that somebody texts you? Because you don't know what happens inside your device after you click that link. And then there's, of course, what is it called? The Pegasus program that was apparently hatched out of what is Israeli intelligence. I feel like I gotta ask Grok. I wasn't planning on bringing up this Pegasus program, but here we are. We improvise. We're we're kind of a non-formats over here at the earthvox podcast. Where did the Pegasus program originate? Grok? Simple answer, please. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, and of course, share it. Everyone stopped listening after the holiday, I guess, because I took a couple of weeks off and everybody thought I quit. Raring to go this morning. Really looking forward to it. Took a few cups of coffee, but here we are. We're going. We're hitting it hard. The Pegasus spyware program originated in Israel, developed by the NSO Group. What is the NSO Group, pray tell? And of course, this Pegasus software, like you don't even like all they need is your phone number. You don't actually have to click on anything, and then they have access to all your stuff: your camera, your microphone, all your apps, your GPS location, everywhere you're going. So you might as well, I guess, just click on that link. Just do it. Who cares? Find out what happens. What's the worst? I mean, anything like there's so many safeguards in place. It's a wonder that they even try to scam people anymore. I mean, this is why they tell you to for your online shopping, just use your credit card. Because if you get fraudulent charges on your credit card, they're much easier to reverse than if you get fraudulent charges on your debit card, which links directly to your bank account. There's no buffer. So not only do I use my credit card whenever possible, I actually have my credit card linked to my PayPal account to add another layer of protection. Whenever possible, I pay for things with PayPal online. Then it gets billed to my credit card. And then I just go through and dispute all the PayPal charges. Ha ha! And I don't pay for a thing! Yes! Because that's the world we live in, right? Why bother? Why bother doing things the right way? Why bother following the laws? Why bother operating with any level of integrity? Just go start a daycare and screw the taxpayers over for many millions of dollars. Or I guess, I mean, maybe that only works if you're of a certain persuasion. NSO Group Technologies, this is the origin of the Pegasus spyware program, is an Israeli cyber. I'm sorry, it's just because it's Israel. We have to laugh about it, right? Because Israel has become such a meme. Israeli cyber intelligence company founded in 2010 by Shalev Julio, Omri Lavi, and Niv Karmi. It specializes in developing surveillance software, most notably the Pegasus spyware, which enables remote zero-click monitoring of smartphones to access data like messages, emails, and location. So there you have it. If your phone number's out there and they want to spy on you, you're being spied on. Congratulations. Don't worry about it. It won't be long now. We'll all be living in the pods, playing video games all day, collecting universal basic income. Sometimes I'm ready for that. Sometimes I wonder, like, why don't I just open a daycare? I've seen these funny videos about, basically laying it out. This was how all the fraud in Minnesota, and it's coming out. It's happening in New York. It's healthcare fraud. It's daycare fraud. It's in California. It's in Texas. It's in Washington State. I mean, is it safe to assume that this is all happening in every state? And I only suspect that I wouldn't be able to get away with it because I have a white face and an American name. And I have no ability to prove that I'm a poor beleaguered immigrant that just is trying to make ends meet. What the scam was explained like, oh, you're a Somali immigrant with 4 kids living right next to your sister. who also has 4 kids. And you just chill operating your fraudulent daycare until somebody shows up. And then you go, oh, there's no kids here right now, but come back tomorrow or come back in a few hours. We'll have the kids. I'll call my sister. She'll send her kids over here. And now you've got a daycare with 8 kids. And who knows how much money that's worth. So, of course, it's understandable. The frustration amongst the taxpayers that we're seeing. It's just kind of funny how many scams there are. It's text message scams. It's Nigerian prince scams. It's eBay scams. It's Amazon scams. Like, you almost can't buy anything legitimate online anymore. I tried to buy a tarp for the weather because I have this shed out back. That's basically a tent. You know the kind I'm talking about. It functions as a shed, but it's just a metal frame with a tarp over the top of it. And I've had it for years, probably 5 years now. And the weather is so severe that it honestly, and this is not hyperbole at all, literally obliterates the tarp that goes around the tent. So I've modified it. I've replaced the tarp several times. This year, I went to eBay and I need a very specific size. It's got to be 8 feet because it's 8 feet deep from front to back. It's 8 feet. And then from the bottom of one side across the top to the bottom of the other side is about 20 feet. It's actually a little bit more. If it's like 20 and a half feet or 21 feet, something like that. But a 20-foot tarp does just fine as long as it's 8 feet wide. Do you think the tarp that I bought on eBay was actually 8 feet wide as it was advertised? No, it was not. Because this company that sells these tarps, this is like their thing. You can get them all shapes and sizes and colors. They advertise the size of their tarps to be actually 4 inches wider than they are when you get them. And the response that I got when I told them, hey, your piece of shit tarp isn't as big as you said it was going to be. Oh, well, that's because the tarp is it's that size when we cut it, but then we fold the edges over and we put the grommets in. And so when it gets to you, it's actually 4 inches smaller than we told you it was going to be. So I made them give me a refund. And they gave me a 10% refund. I don't know if that's fair or not, but it reinforces that we're just helpless consumers. We're just helpless taxpayers. And I guess it makes sense because we're just a scam. We're just a scam culture now. And I know we're a scam culture because nobody has been held accountable for the biggest scams that have been perpetrated upon us. Wall Street Apes writes on X, number of arrests under Republicans since Donald Trump has taken office. For the Russia collusion hoax, 0 arrests. January 6th, no arrests. Mar-a-Lago, the illegal raid on Mar-a-Lago, which we know was illegal because they had no probable cause, which was a story several weeks ago. I think actually it came out when I was on my little holiday break that I took from the show. For the Biden auto pen scandal, no arrests. Epstein, Doge, COVID, Benghazi, Ukraine impeachment, nationwide protest funding, 2020 stolen election, allowing illegals to vote, 0, 0, 0, 0. But under Joe Biden, 64 high-profile Republicans were arrested, along with 1,265 January 6th defendants. So scam it up, people. You got nothing to worry about. Nobody comes knocking. As long as you're screwing over the right people, as long as you're screwing over Republicans. Now there's a rumor going around that Tim Walz may resign as the governor of Minnesota. I don't know if that's still happening now. I don't know if that rumor began before all of the chaos from the last few days. I'm just going to type it into Grok here and see what pops up. He has been referred for criminal indictment. Do you think Pam Bondi's going to do anything about that? You think she's going to get right after it? She's going to go to Tim Walz personally, slap the handcuffs on him. Nothing new to report. Apparently, some pretty funny videos. If you're watching on X, Rumble, Twitch, or YouTube, we are streaming live video. Graham Banks writes, Tim Walz is said to be resigning within the next week, according to campaign staffers. After his referral to the DOJ, there is no way he can maintain a position as governor. Well, sure there is. Sure there is, Graham. You know how many people have been referred to the DOJ for prosecution? I mean, that's the point of the previous post. No accountability. Rip us off. Scam us to the moon and back. And nothing's going to happen because you're above the law, because you're a politician. You're a politician, or you're a corporate CEO, or you're a Somali daycare owner. Nothing to fear. Operate with impunity. Fill your pockets with our tax money. No big deal. Tim Walz is reportedly dropping out of the governor's race. No doubt amidst all of the scandal. Although things have changed. A lot has changed in the last 48, 72, 96 hours. Boy, I came through clutch on those multiples of 24 and 12, eh? I went to private school. This headline from Fox9.com, I imagine is a Minnesota Fox affiliate, but who cares? Governor Walz likely to drop out of 2026 Minnesota governor's race, which I believe has been confirmed. So good riddance. Until he, pops back up as a senator or, new VP. Can you believe that guy? They wanted that guy to be our vice president. How you like my coffee cup? My favorite coffee cup. It looks pretty cool with the green screen. It's like, this is my ghost coffee cup. Oh man, this is fun. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. I was not. We're about to get into the really ugly stuff. And I was not looking forward to talking about it because it's so demoralizing. I mean, that's all part of the plan, right? On the daycare scams, it was pretty funny. This news came out early last week before all the super intense drama. Right Angle News Network shared on X, breaking. A Craigslist ad seeking child actors for a daycare in Minneapolis, Hennepin County has been discovered, with the poster requesting 20 children to act as clients while the state observes them to determine whether it's a legitimate daycare. The ad reads, daycare hiring child actors for 3-day contracts in Ventura Village. Help us, daycare. Why not just call it the Central Intelligence Daycare? Hi, all. My family runs daycare here in the city and have for over 5 years, until Monday when funding was cruelly ripped away without cause. Due to this insane, poor decision, clear in white supremacy, we had to close our doors immediately. We must prove we are a now I'm reading this uh, uh, word for word. So if it sounds weird, it's how it was written. Due to this insane poor decision, clear in white supremacy, we had to close our doors immediately. We must prove we are a function daycare to get the funding back. The issue is the entire client base has already found new daycare services, so we need to find new clients base quickly. To help hurry this state vetting processes, we are looking to hire 20 child actors for 3 days while state is present on site. We pay up to $1,500 actor per day. If you are interested, please sign your child's age and a note of what makes your child a special actor. Submit phone number as well, as we will be doing quick phone interviews as part of hire process. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to read this ad. I wish there was a phone number. Were there a phone number? I would call. I would call it live on this show right now. I wonder what time is it? In Minnesota, it's probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just need to know because I can't stand not knowing. Oh, it's only one. So they're only 2 hours ahead of us. They would definitely be, although, you know what, it's a Sunday, so we couldn't really definitively. Would would people drop their kids off at daycare to go to church? I wouldn't. I bring my kids, make them suffer through it. I I hated going to church when I was a kid. I hated it so bad. There was nothing fun about it. It was so boring. I didn't care about the lessons. I didn't care. And then there was a moment in time where the the church that we went to also was like an hour away because it was, you know, there was an important connection to that church for my family, so that's why we went to that one. But there was a moment in time when my stepdad was running for governor and we went on like a church tour. So we went to a different shitty church every Sunday for, it wasn't even that long, for like a month or maybe 2 months. And the churches were fine. It was just so boring and so annoying because of the Sunday school aspect, right? I need to turn this light down. It's blinding me. When you go into the Sunday school setting and it's actually stuff made for kids and it's interesting, it's a lot more like absorbable, right? Or at least I remember it not uh, making me feel like I wanted to just end my life because of how bored I was going to be for the next literally 4 hours, drive there for an hour, be absolutely mind numbingly bored for 2 hours, and then an hour drive back. Unless, of course, maybe we were lucky enough to go somewhere for lunch. That made it a little more tolerable, a little more exciting. But I think this is what's really hurt our culture. I mean, do you think that there aren't people associated with churches that are running scams? Of course there are. Because we live in a scam culture. So if your motivation is to scam and fill your pockets instead of actually making meaningful change in your neighborhood with your message of the gospel to actually affect people's lives and impact their behavior, what good are you doing? What is your motivation to not make money hand over fist through tithes and offerings and donations and political affiliations? And you know, some of these people don't even believe. They start the church, they run the church, they take over the church because that's what their dad did. And they don't really believe. They've had it forced down their throat their entire life. So they're just looking to be comfortable. I'm not saying this is your church that does this, but I could think of a few that do. I mean, how are we going to cover the walls in the foyer with 50-inch flat screen TVs while there's people standing in line at the food bank? Do you believe that the apocalypse begins when everyone in the world has heard the words of the gospel? It's a teaching in the Bible. How close are we to that moment? It sure feels right now like we're a lot closer, at least than I thought. I wasn't planning on talking about any of this morning, except that it's really mind blowing how fast this is moving. I mean, the fraud has been exposed. They're trying to cover it up. They're creating fake documents. I mean, I have this post from Dustin Grage. If I can get anything to work, I'll show it to you. He writes, Tim Walz has 0 public appearances today and still hasn't commented on yesterday's audits, showing his Department of Human Services backdating and creating new documents. Of course, now that ICE killed a woman in Minnesota, the mainstream media has seized upon that story to create cover. Overjoyed they are that one of their poor, brainwashed foot soldiers lost their lives because they thought they could fight federal officers with their vehicle. And of course, the mainstream media reports, oh, she was unarmed. She was a poor unarmed mother. This is the video you need to see. But of course, this being an audio only podcast, I won't linger on it for too long. The guy gets hit hard by the car. Not to mention that just a few weeks earlier, he had to get 32 stitches because he was hit and dragged by another person. What is your level of sympathy for these people? I admit, when I first saw the video, I thought to myself, that didn't need to happen. That guy did not need to shoot that woman. But look at what's happened since then. You can't hit a cop with your car. Do we need to even have this discussion? Do you need to be told? You can't fight cops. You can't hit them with your car. Under no circumstances is that behavior acceptable unless you're waging a civil war. I mean, when is the memo going to go out? When's your group chat going to drop the notifications? Civil war kicking off at 7 a.m. tomorrow, y'all. Be safe. kind of seems like it's already started for one side. This X post from TV News Now. Fox's Trace Gallagher calls out politicians in Minnesota.
Well, it turns out the Fox News and Not Common Sense department was right. The Department of Homeland Security was right. And Minnesota politicians were wrong. Again, it's becoming a pattern. 24 hours ago, Minnesota authorities were telling us the woman who was shot and killed by federal law enforcement, 37-year-old Renee Good, was not an activist and was only near the ICE activity because she was dropping off her child. Now we know that Renee Good was part of ICE Watch, a group that monitors and interferes with ICE operations. And before the shooting, she was monitoring and interfering with ICE operations. And video from the officer's perspective backs up pretty much every detail, providing key evidence that Good and her wife were impeding and taunting ICE. And when law enforcement told Good to get out of her car, Good decided instead to aggressively use her car. And in the process, she struck law enforcement, who then opened fire. The mayor of Minnesota, who initially claimed the officer was never hit, now says the officer was barely hit. So now self-defense depends on the severity of the strike? Common sense thinks when you change your story from the wheels were turned away from the officer to the officer only suffered a minor injury, it's time to tone down the rhetoric, own up to the mistake, and say you were wrong. Again.
This is the game that they play in the mainstream media. It didn't happen. Okay, it happened, but it only happened a little bit. To, okay, it did happen, and this is why it was good that it happened. Here's what they're saying on CNN.
Well, I agree with you, Jonathan. I think there's some details we don't know yet, and we'll have to learn more about it. What strikes me is, first of all, it's extremely sad and unfortunate that someone died. I mean, the political fighting and disagreements aside, it's terrible. You don't want people to die in law enforcement situations or otherwise. But it strikes me that we are undergoing an epidemic of political vigilantism right now. Why are people showing up in vehicles, in convoys, not just in Minneapolis, but all over the country in an effort to obstruct lawful federal law enforcement activities? This is not an isolated incident. We have had hundreds of car rammings against ICE agents all over the country. According to DHS, this lady in this car today, along with other vehicles, had been tracking ICE agents around. Why are people believing that they can drive their car into a federal law enforcement situation and that is an appropriate thing to do? I understand they don't like the fact that these agents are enforcing existing immigration law, but that's not how we change laws in this country. If you don't like a law, you talk to the politicians. You don't drive your car into the middle of a building or a law enforcement situation that's being occupied by the people who are simply there to enforce the law. If I don't like how much the IRS is charging me in taxes, I don't drive my car into the Treasury Department, try to run somebody over. I call my congressman. Political vigilantism is being encouraged by Democratic officials like the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, who earlier this year told people to, quote, put your bodies on the line, and Tim Walz calling these guys Gestapo all year. What do you think happens when you radicalize a base of people about this?
It does strike me.
We have that. Here's Peggy Flanagan.
If you are sick and tired of your government being ransacked by Donald Trump and his minions, literally taking away healthcare from your neighbors, stealing food off of the table from seniors and children, and generally being uncool with the fact that our neighbors are being disappeared.
Your neighbors. We're being uncool with your neighbors that entered the country illegally, that shouldn't be receiving welfare benefits, healthcare, food stamps, because they're illegal and it's against the law for them to receive welfare benefits. But they're your neighbors.
P.S. Without due process, it is just called kidnapping. Then show.
What? By the way, what is the due process? What is the due process for establishing whether or not somebody's in the country illegally? Hey, we're here to see if you're in the country illegally. Can you show me some documentation that proves that you're in the country legally? You can't? Okay, there's your due process. You're not in the country legally. You're collecting welfare. You're ripping off the taxpayers. You're effectively toppling the country. But here's Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, Peggy Flanagan, who will take over if Tim Walz resigns, talking about how terrible it is that your neighbors are having the food taken off of their table.
Show up and use your voice. Put your body on the line and use
There it is. Let's back it up.
Show up and use your voice. Put your body on the line and use non-violent direct action, which is one of the most important tools in our toolbox to say, I am not okay. I will not go silently into the night. I will join arms with my friends, with my neighbors, and with people who generally believe that folks should be able to afford their lives, should be treated with dignity and as human beings.
So then you show up, you put your body on the line, you break the law, they try to arrest you, you try to run them over, and your history. And they celebrate that now they have a martyr. Now they can take all the focus away from the scams they've been running on you for years and decades. And now they can make it all about this poor innocent mother of 3 that was executed at the hands of ICE. And she's not the only one. I mean, even though these politicians are rolling out saying, you need to put your body on the line, they still got to take out Craigslist ads. Here's an ad shared by Mickey Way in Philadelphia. Craigslist. It reads, "Stop Trump, up to $1,500 a week. Hiring immediately. Call today, start tomorrow. $15 to $18 hourly rate plus bonus plus overtime up to 77 hours per week. Drivers earn gas reimbursement. Morning and evening shifts. No previous experience required. Full-time and part-time positions. Weekend positions available. No fundraising, no commission. Call." Oh, there's a phone number. Guys. Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's call him. Let's call him right now. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. My heart is beating. We're going to do it. We're going to do it right now. I'm plugging in my equipment. Let's see if it works. How are we going to find out? My God, I wasn't prepared for this. I should have prepared. Let's see. Is it working? Is it working? Let's test. We'll test a YouTube video. I'll pass this time. Thanks. Oh, hey, the stream is working on YouTube. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. We're really doing it. We're really doing it, Red Band. Let's see if this works. Do you think they're going to answer? I mean, I bet since this has gone up, it's, this number's been disconnected. Don't get your hopes up.
If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number.
Okay. We'll just do it again because, of course, my prediction was correct.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. The number you dialed has been changed, disconnected, or is no longer in service.
Well, I'm sorry. That was almost cool. Also not surprising. Oh, whoops. My cord. There we go. We almost did it. As soon as they get found out, it goes on. And who knows, that's probably part of the plan. Like check out these documents. This is wild. And it does, I will caveat, these documents are allegedly from 2016. It does say fiscal year 2016 in some of these documents. But this post from Mila Joy does allegedly show authentic documents for funding these protesters. Point of contact, DA Donnelly. Do not name this individual in any comms or in person. This does not leave this document. The disbursement of funds will occur in 3 stages. Initial disbursement of funds prior to action. If you had not already received this disbursement, please reach out to the designated point of contact. Typically, this will constitute 5 to 10% of the negotiated amounts, ETA 1 to 2 weeks prior to action. Immediately following debrief, AOEC representatives will direct you on where and when you can expect to see the next stage of funding disbursements. Typically, this will constitute 20% to 30% of the negotiated amounts. ETA 24 to 48 hours following action. Final disbursement of funds will come at some point in the future, a timeline to be determined by AOEC representatives. Your contract and further possible amendments from AOEC/agit orgs. It actually talks about agitation. This will constitute the remainder of the negotiated amounts. ETA 4 to 6 months following action. May be delayed, and then it's covered up by a post-it note. Fiscal year 2016. AOEC representatives will keep you updated. Probably updated again. It's covered by a post-it note. I wonder what AOEC is. The Association of Occupational and Environmental Clinics, a network for healthcare providers? I don't think that's right. Let's see if I put agit.org. Outside agitators. I don't think so. I don't think that's legit. I mean, but of course it could be. It ends with, do not report this income to anybody. We have coordinated with relevant tax authorities. Don't worry. Don't worry about paying your taxes. We'll take care of all of it. Just don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. Nothing bad will happen. But then they show you thousands and thousands. Where are my layout buttons? Why does this? I might stop streaming, you guys, because this is just, I mean, I'm getting so irritated by all of this crap and just how it doesn't work like the way that it's supposed to. It's not that it's hard, but I can pull it off. It's just that it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Like this country, like our governments. I mean, our taxes are going up. Our taxes are going up everywhere. They have to raise the taxes because they're running out of money to fund the essential government services that we need. Everything's outrageously expensive. So people go out looking for extra work. They go on Craigslist and they find these ads. Hey, I can work on the weekends. I can be a professional protester. Do I care about what's actually being protested? No, I need to pay my bills. I need to feed myself. So our leaders, full of integrity, launder tax money to NGOs to pay protesters so that they can establish an authoritarian state. And the GoFundMe for this person has reached $1.5 million. Another avenue for scams. Venmo, online payment processors. Where does it end? I mean, they say that that her mother was paying her bills through Venmo. What sort of due diligence was done to confirm that this was actually her mom? It could be anybody. Andy No writes on X, I found the Venmo of the woman shot dead in Minneapolis by ICE after accelerating into an agent. Renee Good's mother was paying her bills. Her image features a BLM logo, and in 2020, she paid someone for, quote, terrorism. It might be her mom. It might be an intelligence operative. She may have been an intelligence operative. And oh, she was a mother of 3, just dropping her kid off at school. They lived nearby. Well, what's nearby? The daycare was nearby. The school was nearby. What's nearby? In the state? They'll say anything to lie to you. They'll say anything to make you believe what they want you to believe so that they can impact your behavior. And where did this 1.5 million come from? The Venmo's been, or the GoFundMe has been frozen. Apparently they've gotten enough money. And now they're waiting to disperse it. And what function does this serve? Well, it tells you that if you go out and fight the man and something bad happens to you, you can get $1 million. It creates the false impression that there's massive support behind this. But they have to buy protesters. They have to steal elections. They have to create false news stories. She was a terrible child abuser. Her kids were abused. Horrifically. Here's the older millennial.
Hey, just a little tidbit about the left's new hero. Yeah, she only has custody of one of her kids. And the reason
She only had custody of one of her kids.
she only has custody of one is that her domestic partner, a woman, yeah, she likes to beat the shit out of kids and put cigarettes out on their arm. And she chose that woman over her kids. Yeah, the court was basically like, hold on, if you're going to stay with her, you don't get to keep the kids. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. So when people were asking, why was this mother not at home taking care of her children? It's because her children were taken away from her, because her partner likes to beat the shit out of them and use their fucking arms as ashtrays. Like, it's amazing to me that every hero of the left turns out to be an awful human being. Like, that sounds surprising, but it's the reality. Because anybody that would believe in the ideology that the left believes, anybody that would take action and try to run over a federal agent, yeah, I could assume that they were an idiotic piece of shit. But I have to say that the level of choosing your partner over your children, of staying with someone who likes to beat the shit out of your kids, that's a new level.
I wonder about the officer that was nearly run over, that was injured just weeks before. Did he have any kids? Or a wife or a family? That poor guy out there trying to do his job, support his family, following orders, making Minnesota, where all of these people who hate them live, making Minnesota a better place, is being attacked and injured because of the filth and propaganda that's being spread by the politicians and the mainstream media. Yes, Jonathan Ross, the ICE officer involved in the recent Minneapolis incident where a woman allegedly attempted to run, allegedly, thanks, Croc, is married to a woman named Matricia, also referred to as Maria Patricia Aguinaldo Ross, and has children. They married in 2012 or 2013, and she is originally from the Philippines. His father has described him as a tremendous father and a tremendous husband. What do you think Renee Nicole Good's family thinks about her? I mean, she had 3 kids with a guy. Then got into a relationship with a woman who abused her kids and put cigarettes out on them. I think it's terrible that this happened. As soon as I saw the video, I felt terrible. I did not want that to happen. But I also think that the consequence-free culture that we've established over the last 10 or 15 years, arguably more, has to die. It has to end. And unfortunately, I think that means that more people are going to have to die at the hands of law enforcement. If you try to fight a cop and you get shot, that's what happens. If you try to run over a federal officer and you get killed, that's what happens. But we have local politicians and communist police officers that are all too happy to support the brown shirts. 2,200 more New York police officers resigned. Who do you think is going to take their place? Upstanding American citizens that believe in the Constitution, will protect your right to own property, to walk safely down the streets? Do you really think that's who they're going to pick in New York? But people are speaking up. People are speaking up in Minnesota because they're embarrassed.
As a lifelong Minneapolis resident, I just want to come on here and say, I'm sorry. I am so sorry that everyone in my state is so retarded. I'm exhausted of it too. How do you think the rest of us here feel? Believe it or not, most of us here in Minnesota aren't psychotic liberals. We just want our state back. We just want the state and the city of Minneapolis and the Twin Cities that we knew and loved growing up. We just want that back. But these absolutely insane liberals, these communists, they are literally communists, have taken over everything. Do you know how embarrassing it is to say that I am from Minneapolis? Because the only time that Minneapolis is ever in the news is because of something awful. Whether it was COVID snitch lines or the George Floyd riots or that incident that happened at the Catholic school, the Somalian fraudster. And now, of course, the incident with ICE. I am ashamed to be from here. I am ashamed, okay? Especially because it didn't always used to be this way. So I am actually coming on here and begging. I am begging for prayers at this point for my hometown. I'm so tired, y'all. We are so tired. Please pray for us. You know, I got out of Minneapolis just at the right time because I had moved back here after living in Boston for a little bit, and I bought a home in North Minneapolis. And last year when Omar Fateh started running and my property taxes went up 10%, I saw the writing on the wall and I knew that I had to leave.
I'm tired of it, by the way. What do you think is going to happen when all of the decent people move away? What's going to happen? Are things going to get better? No, they're going to get worse. You fleeing your state is exactly what our enemies want you to do. We're seeing the results right now of people fleeing their states instead of staying and fighting for American values. And by the way, Minnesota nut jobs, you're an embarrassment. It's not a surprise that these things are happening. But one thing that is particularly interesting, back when Tim Walz and the other communists thought they'd be facilitating an authoritarian takeover in the name of whomever, globalist dictators, they created this law. A bill signed into law by Governor Tim Walz on July 23rd, 2020. If a driver accelerates toward an officer standing in front of a vehicle, this creates an immediate life-threatening danger. The officer does not need to wait until impact. They can act based on the intent or proximity. Minnesota Statute 609.066. That was in the heart of COVID. It was when they really thought the authoritarian takeover was happening. And now an autonomous zone has popped up. How organic can that be? What do you think? You think there's just that many passionate people? Or do you think it's being financed likely with our tax dollars? And where are the fire hoses? I've seen so many videos of people harassing these officers. Not a fire hose to be found. You know what I do when I'm trying to train my dog? I get a spray bottle. Works like a charm. Nonviolent? I don't know. Would you call a fire hose nonviolent? Largely nonviolent? Where are the fire hoses? Of course, Minnesota law enforcement and local politicians, they're all in on the communist revolution. So they're telling law enforcement to stay away. Make room for the intelligence-funded agitators to take over city blocks, make people miserable, so they move away. Once all the people that aren't cool with it move away, well, then they have a consensus. Then they have voters that support communist authoritarian policies. Not to mention all the Somalians and others that will keep voting for those people because they want the gravy train to continue. Well, guess what, people? When the money runs out, your gravy train is over. When the money runs out, you're leaving anyway. But they have to rip the country apart because they have to get at the Constitution. That's the other agenda. What really blows my mind is that there are seemingly no numbers of people, no meaningful numbers of people that will stand up and say, no, this is not okay. I won't support this. And God forbid somebody actually do step up and say, no, I'm not okay with this. Their lives are ruined. They are targeted, investigated, audited, and destroyed. Further drama in Minnesota. Did you hear about the Hilton hotel scandal? Apparently, Hilton Hotels has been refusing to house ICE officers.
And Sandra, we're also tracking another story out of Minnesota this afternoon. DHS just posting on social media a short time ago, accusing the Hilton Hotel brand of refusing service to ICE agents in the state of Minnesota. This is their X post, essentially saying Hilton is doing a coordinated campaign to stop ICE officers from booking hotels in Minnesota. They posted a couple of screenshots of email exchanges showing staff at least one Hilton hotel telling them, we researched you, we found out you're immigration agents, and we are not going to provide you service. Sandra, I can tell you it is not a one-off. I've gotten texts from other ICE officers on the ground in Minnesota showing me screenshots of other Hilton hotels denying them service specifically because they are immigration agents. Our team on the ground is looking into it and has reached out to Hilton for comment. We'll update our viewers when we hear more on that front.
Sean Davis writes on X, this particular hotel, the Hampton Inn Lakeville outside Minneapolis, was bought for $15 million last summer, according to news reports. The LLC that was used to purchase the hotel is owned by 4 Indian partners: Parmeet Singh, Amanpreet Hundal, Karandeep Nagra, and Mohinderjeet Kaur, according to public records filed last June with the Minnesota Secretary of State. You think they're here legally? But don't worry, this story has a happy ending. Nick Sorter writes on X, it's official. The Hampton Inn by Hilton Lakeview can no longer be booked through any travel website and has been nuked from Hilton's sign. Good. We've at least accomplished that much. We've at least shown these communist authoritarians that we're not going to tolerate their bullshit. But it's not enough. We have to do more. And it's happening so fast. The fraud is crippling us economically. The hatred and the protests, inorganic as it may be, is demoralizing us. It's demoralizing me. And these people are being tricked. They're being coerced. If they're not just doing it for the money, they're being lied to about the morality of what they're doing, about the morality of what's taking place. Like I was watching the end of a gamer's stream on Twitch yesterday, and he was more conservative aligned than the person that he was talking to. And everything that I was hearing the more liberal personality say on this stream is completely misinformed. The worst part about it was the conservative guy, he didn't have any rebuttal for it. But that's what I see time after time. The people on the left are being lied to. And the people on the right don't have enough information to set them straight when they hear the lies. A bit of good news, some good news before we go. Things are dire. Things are dark. Things are getting away from us really quick, and we need to be ready and we need to be prepared. We need to stop shying away from it. We need to stop thinking about selling the house and moving to a red state. You need to start thinking about how you're going to make your state red. Trust me, it's cheaper. This is not the time to curl up into a ball and, oh, woe is me, and I got to get out of here. It's time to figure out how you're going to make a difference in your neighborhood. Now on to the good news. It was announced this week that a new position is being created, I think in the Department of Justice. Colin Rugg writes on X, Vice President J.D. Vance announces a new Assistant Attorney General position whose entire job will be investigating fraud.
What is that going on there? Is that normal? Okay. CNN installed this broken camera just to throw me off my game, but it's not going to work. So here's the simple fact here. If you're a young parent struggling to afford childcare in the United States of America, there are programs that we have to make it easier for your kids to get in daycare, for your kids to get in preschool. Those programs should go to American citizens, not be defrauded by Somali immigrants and others. Make it hard for you to get the access to the resources you need. But number two, making it easier for people who shouldn't even be in this country to fleece the United States and our taxpayers to begin with. We have actually activated a major interagency task force to make it possible to get to the heart of this fraud. We have Department of Agriculture resources that are focused on SNAP fraud so that people who need food benefits can get them, but illegal aliens and other fraudsters don't. We have over 1,500 subpoenas that the Department of Justice has issued to get to the heart of the fraud ring. We've done almost 100 indictments, mostly Somali immigrants, but also a few others. And of course, we're looking in with broad investigatory authority to a number of the instances of wrongdoing that we've seen in Minneapolis. But we also want to expand this. We know that the fraud isn't just happening in Minneapolis. It's also happening in states like Ohio. It's happening in states like California. And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate this remarkable interagency effort from the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way. I want to thank a couple of people for their cooperation, in particular Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, first of all, for getting a lot of resources to Minneapolis to start to investigate and prosecute this fraud really at an industrial scale. We've never seen fraud like this in the history of our country. Pam has been doing a great job to get the resources there to uncover it. But importantly, creating a job like this often takes months, sometimes even longer. When we realized that we needed this Associate Attorney General position, Pam got this person up and running in about a week. We're going to make the nomination hopefully in the next few days. We'll obviously let you guys know who that is when we do it. I've talked to Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who has promised me swift confirmation for this official. But this is the person who is going to make sure that we stop defrauding the American people. Here's one final thing I'll say about this. I've heard a lot of people say that we need a special counsel to investigate fraud in the United States of America. I actually agree, and that's what this position does. It has all the benefits, all the resources, all the authority of a special counsel, but with two crucial differences. Number one, it will be run out of the White House under the supervision of me and the President of the United States. And number two, it's actually constitutionally legitimate. As you guys may know, the special counsel statute has some major constitutional questions. When we get the bad guys, we want to make sure we get them permanently and they don't have some legal technicality they can get out of, which is why we set it up as an Associate Attorney General.
So it's just occurred to me. Where does Jeffrey Epstein fall in your list of important things that this administration should focus on? Because when I see billions of dollars, they're reporting up to maybe $1 trillion of fraud discovered in California, tens of billions of fraud in Minnesota, multiple billions of fraud in New York. And you know what they're doing with that? They're replacing you. They're making you poor while they make these immigrants, their new Democrat voters, wealthy. You know, I saw a stat earlier this week. I don't know if it's legit, but Mercedes-Benz is the most popular car purchased in Minnesota. And guess what? All these Somali daycare owners are driving. Yeah. Mercedes-Benz. Well, I drive a 12, 13-year-old pickup truck. I like Mercedes-Benzes. Gotta open a daycare. Because beyond other forms of election fraud that we know exist, do you think Somalis are going to vote for Republicans that will end this fraud? That will take away the gravy train? No, they're paying these illegal immigrants so that they will vote for them in the next election. And they're enabling these immigrants to vote by looking the other way when they're registered to vote after they get a driver's license. Oh, whoops, just happened automatically. So then the ballots get sent to their houses. But not even that has to happen. Because as long as they can show that the number of registered voters is at least beyond the number of votes collected in the election, there's no red flags. Yeah, we have 12 million registered voters in Minnesota and 10 million voted in the most recent election. Okay, that all checks out. No problem. Move on. Import more immigrants and figure out ways for them to vote. Show them how to defraud the legitimate taxpayers so that they'll continue to vote for us, so that they won't move away. And most importantly, brainwash all of the people through the mainstream media and press releases by these psychotic local politicians to motivate all of the citizens, as many as we can muster, to try to stop anyone from changing course. Now on to Greenland. This is the news I saw this on Greenland this morning. Our NATO allies, if you can even call them that, are mobilizing to defend Greenland from the evil United States. I don't know if any of that is true. But according to Marco Rubio, this post from Polymarket, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has informed Congress that the United States intends to purchase Greenland. And they've had meetings. Because Greenland is owned by Denmark. That is how you would classify it, right? Owned. But the people in Greenland don't really like Denmark. So naturally, in the negotiations, Denmark wants to cut Greenland out of the negotiations. Because the last thing any of these globalist leaders wants to do is consult the people. Consult the ones actually affected by it. These people don't care about anything that's real. And I'm talking about the elite. The corporate elite, the political elite, the globalist elite, have no care for what you think. It's been reported that the population of Greenland is mostly receptive, if not excited, about joining the United States. But this post from Colin Rugg, Danish soldiers will, quote, shoot first and ask questions later if the United States invades Greenland, according to the Telegraph. The comment comes after President Trump doubled down on his intention of annexing Greenland. The Danish Defense Ministry confirmed on Wednesday the existence of a 1952 rule that forces soldiers to immediately counterattack invading forces without awaiting orders. The Defense Ministry also said that the rule remains in force when asked about its status, the Telegraph reported. On Tuesday, the White House announced that Trump is considering acquiring Greenland and utilizing the U.S. military if needed. Quote, President Trump has made it well known that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority of the United States, and it's vital to deter our adversaries in the Arctic region. Let's listen.
And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security. And we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before. It's a very small population, but very, very large piece of land and very, very important for military security. And I also have
strategically important, and only 57,000 people live there. But once again, we come up against the opinion of the globalist authoritarians that only exists to stop Trump. It's their opinion on everything. It's their response to everything. Doesn't matter if it's good. Stop Trump. So Mediaite reported this morning that the United States Army is working on an invasion plan at the request of Donald Trump. Which leads me to believe that perhaps the negotiations didn't go well. Although this is reported by Mediaite, cesspit of propaganda. The headline reads, Trump orders top army officials to draw up plan to invade Greenland. Posturing, in my opinion, and in my hope. I don't want to believe that we're going to violently acquire Greenland. I don't think we're going to have to. And I think if local Greenland leadership wants to join the United States, that Denmark can piss off. Greenland is in our backyard. Denmark is an ocean away. I just get bothered because we have so much to deal with in our own country, in our own states. But we're messing around in Greenland. We're messing around in Venezuela. Although the things that were accomplished in Venezuela, I think, are being understated by the mainstream media. Simply because of what it means for Russia and China and Iran, who, by the way, is experiencing massive revolutionary activity, causing their leaders to flee. Nothing about that, though, largely in the mainstream media. It's all about Minnesota. It's all about how terrible ICE is. And I feel like it's connected. I shared this post. I need to pull it up. I reposted it on my X page. Mike Benz, this is from the Wall Street Apes. Mike Benz is worried the case against Nicolas Maduro may end up getting dismissed because, of course, Nicolas Maduro is on trial in New York with some leftist judge. For what reason, I don't really know. Theatrics. He says the CIA is who set up the cocaine trafficking networks in Venezuela. And to make sure details of this don't get released, the CIA will want the DOJ to drop the case against Maduro. Quote, the cocaine networks in Venezuela were set up by the CIA, not by Maduro. The fact is, you can simply watch the 1993 60 Minutes episode where Mike Wallace broke that the CIA had set up an anti-cocaine warehouse in Venezuela and then struck a secret agreement with the Venezuelan National Guard to traffic 1,500 tons of cocaine into Miami against the protestations of DEA. That was all sold on the streets of Miami to support CIA, black operations, paramilitary groups. The opposition backed by the U.S. inside of Venezuela in 2019 is deeply affiliated with the CIA cocaine networks. There are probably international crimes that Maduro committed, but the idea of charging him with running a cocaine conspiracy, which Venezuela inherited from the CIA itself, has made this case very tenuous. I'm concerned that this case could get dismissed because there's going to be so much last-minute craziness going on inside the DOJ, as the CIA is going to be constantly leaning on the DOJ to try to limit discovery. And the CIA is everywhere. But I bring up Venezuela because there was a really interesting report about the operation that took place a few weeks ago when we captured Maduro. This account from a Venezuelan security guard loyal to Nicolas Maduro is absolutely chilling, Mike Netter writes on X, and it explains a lot about why the tone across Latin America suddenly changed. This is an interview with this Venezuelan security guard. He says, on the day of the operation, this is a transcribed conversation between the interview and the security guard. Security guard. On the day of the operation, we didn't, should I do an accent so that we can tell who is who? On the day of the operation, we didn't hear anything coming. We were on guard, but suddenly, no, I'm not going to do that. But suddenly, all our radar systems shut down without any explanation. The next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones, flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react. So what happened next? How was the main attack? After those drones disappeared, some helicopters arrived, but there were very few. I think barely 8 helicopters. From those helicopters, soldiers came down, but a very small number, maybe 20 men. But those men were technologically very advanced. They didn't look like anything we've fought against before. And then the battle began. Yes, but it was a massacre. We were hundreds, but we had no chance. They were shooting with such precision and speed. It seemed like each soldier was firing 300 rounds per minute. We couldn't do anything. And your own weapons, they didn't help? No, not at all. Because it wasn't just the weapons. At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, I felt my head was exploding from the inside. We all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. And your comrades, did they manage to resist? No, not at all. Those 20 men, without a single casualty, killed hundreds of us. We had no way to compete with their technology, with their weapons, I swear. I've never seen anything like it. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it was. So do you think the rest of the region should think twice before confronting the Americans? Without a doubt. I'm sending a warning to anyone who thinks they can fight the United States. They have no idea what they're capable of. After what I saw, I never want to be on the other side of that again. They're not to be messed with. And now Trump has said Mexico is on the list. Do you think the situation will change in Latin America? Definitely. Everyone is already talking about this. No one wants to go through what we went through. Now everyone thinks twice. What happened here is going to change a lot of things, not just in Venezuela, but throughout the region. And that's kind of the point, isn't it? The Monroe Doctrine. They keep talking about the Monroe Doctrine. Regional or hemispheric dominance, which has gotten away from us. But this global effort to stop Trump, what is that going to do? What more comes out of that? Now it's being reported that our European allies are mobilizing to defend Greenland from us. What about what the people of Greenland want? Does that matter at all? Is Greenland asking England and France to show up and defend them against the evil United States? See, it doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what the working people of Greenland want. It's only the globalist agenda that matters. Fun! But I have to admit, or I at least, I want you to understand, I want you to be encouraged that I think this is all posturing. I think Trump is going to make a deal. I think we're going to have a non-violent solution to acquire Greenland. And then I'm going to move there. No, probably not. Unless you make me rich and I can do this podcast from Greenland. And then maybe that'll be the case. But if that is going to happen, I'm going to need you to share the show a lot more. You got to remind all of those people that have stopped listening in the last couple of weeks that the show is still happening. I didn't give up. I didn't quit. Despite how demoralizing this all has become. And there's still good news stories to be found. There's a new food pyramid. Would you be shocked to know that it's the inverse of the old food pyramid, with chicken and broccoli right at the top and bread and cereal all the way down at the bottom? Eggs near the top, avocados near the top, olive oil right there in the middle at the top. Check it out. I will repost it on my X account for you. Head over there. I am at earthvox on X. Find the YouTube channel. No, you know what? F that. Screw YouTube. Go to Rumble. Find me on the Rumble channel. I'm really, really thinking about heading over to Rumble exclusively. But I don't know. It's hard knowing what the right decision to make is when you're just trying to nurse your few hundred downloads that you're getting every week. So follow me there. Go ahead. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on X at earthvox. Check out the things that I've shared and reposted. It's all important things that you need to know. I will be back here next Sunday at 11 a.m. I'm thinking about switching it up. I don't know if I will. Just changing the time, maybe changing the day to free up some time to do some other things, some other projects. Of course, if you're interested in getting involved with the show, if you'd like to come on and talk about things, please reach out to me. Send me a DM. I'm earthvox just about everywhere. Reddit, Discord, PlayStation Network. You can find me. We can talk. The email address is therealearthvox@protonmail.com. And I invite you, as always, to send me a voicemail, should you be so brave. That is 701-787-1121. I'll be back.